folks, how's it going? Got a couple announcements for you. The first is I have decided to give away a few free seminars. I'm going to call them mini courses for you. So those will be coming out soon. Probably be the top 5 items out of my course, Realizing and Achieving Complete Wellness. So those are coming soon, and I'll be doing those for free, just to give you an idea of what you can expect. All right, guys. So today's topic is about the misunderstood subject of mucus and mucus formation through the body. Most of the time, people experience mucus as a drip, right? Or sometimes they get phlegm that comes up from the chest. And both of those are mucus, the thick one that you spit up and the one that runs clear from your nose and your sinuses. Those are all mucus. Now, mucus is a natural forming thing to almost all creatures. Mucus forms a barrier between you and the outside world. Mucus is a needed thing. It is in the body, and specifically around areas that touch the outside world. So the esophagus, the stomach, sinuses, the nose, the mouth, mucus forming naturally. Now the issue is how much mucus is produced, how long it's produced, and how chronic it becomes. Because there are certainly things in the world that cause mucus to rise higher and higher, becoming very uncomfortable for you. So first, again, about those 2 styles or 2 forms of mucus. The first is the runny mucus. Typically you'll find that like if you go outside and it gets really cold, or maybe you eat something spicy, then your nose starts to run, your eyes start to water, that type of thing. Then there's the thicker stuff that usually comes from here, and you can blow it from your nose as well, and that is when the body steps in and white blood cells start to combat whatever virus or bacteria or some other pathogen that has entered the body and it's trying to fight it. So that's kind of the 2 differences, and typically that thicker one is green, yellow, and that's again the body fighting. Now smokers can get thickness coming out that's black and tar, and I think we understand why, right? So you're ingesting carcinogens, you're ingesting smoke, and it starts to blacken the lungs, and so this is why that probably does and will happen. So with mucus, it's also highly misunderstood because there are A, mucus forming foods, B, there's allergies, and C, something that's never talked about unless you follow somebody like Dr. Sebi, that mucus is formed through the foods we eat also. Now, you've experienced this, how do I want to say this? You've experienced this oftentimes if you have any type of an allergy. Like for me, back in the day, when I used to drink dairy, I would drink milk. I'd get a little bit phlegmy, but then also if I combine peanut butter, banana, and milk into one concoction, a smoothie type thing, then my body would almost immediately react and I would just start coughing up stuff for like an hour. I soon learned that I couldn't continue to consume what I thought was my favorite meal. Now that was a long time ago. I haven't drank cow's milk probably in about 10 years, maybe 12, something like that. So that doesn't happen anymore. So that's an allergy, some type of an allergy that I had. Now also, there are mucus-forming foods. I won't go over every one of them, but here's a few, just to give you an idea. We talked about dairy, so dairy and cheese. Starchy items, a lot of times like potatoes, rice, those types of things can cause the body to form mucus. Even starchy things like beans and stuff like that. All right, those things can cause it. Sugars, cakes, those types of things can cause the body. It's not an allergy, it's just what wheat does. It's what gluten does. It's what these things do that cause the body to go, oh, I need to protect it, protect myself, and I'll form this mucus barrier, right? This is what it's all about, a barrier. Now, the thing that's not talked about ever, unless again you follow the Dr. Sebi that I mentioned earlier, is cooked food. Science has shown through Dr. Sebi and a few other people, scientists who have done mucusless diets or mucus-free diets. Look those up on the internet and you'll see what I'm talking about. That when the body experiences cooked food of any type, good, bad, allergy or not, the body creates antibodies and it creates white blood cell count really quickly because it recognizes the cooked food inside of the body as a pathogen, as a entry into the body that should not be there. So the white blood cells rise, and when they do, mucus starts to form, and white blood cells enter that to combat whatever's happening. This becomes chronic because we eat cooked food time after time after time. Now, typically, this is not a bad issue at first, meaning like with my dairy experience with the peanut butter, banana, and milk, where it was instant, where I actually just instantaneously phlegmed out everything. Instead, this is a slow buildup, and it coats all the cells of your body. It coats your lungs, coats your esophagus. You have a constant, you need to go those types of things, maybe blow your nose all the time. And it coats your cells as well inside. And so what happens is it's harder for the body to combat disease whenever it has all this coating in here. So you can get sicker and sicker and sicker more quickly. And if you let this go too long, chronic sickness and illness can actually inset. This goes to your colon as well and your intestines. It coats it, and so you're not absorbing nutrients the way that you should. So again, this is cooked food. This is the way that people learn that eating raw is a good thing. This is a methodology, if you avoid, that you can become mucus-free. As an example, one of my first clients were mothers who had children who were having chronic ear or sinus infections. And these were small children. These were month-old, year-old, 2-year-old children that were getting these chronic ear infections, nose infections, and running eyes. So the doctors, of course, would prescribe antibiotics. Kids are too young for antibiotics. So instead, I ask about their diet, and I find out, as most mothers do, because we're taught, we feed the children milk. So I have them take them off of milk. And within a week or two, the mucus clears up. They don't have runny nose. They don't have to blow anymore. The ear infections go away. That's mucus, but it's also antibiotics, which is a different subject. But antibiotics in the milk destroy bacteria in the body, right? So the kids were getting sicker and sicker because they didn't have an immunity response built up yet. Again, different subject, but go back to the mucus. Is mucus forming starts at a young age for most of us, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and we get sicker and sicker. We get autoimmune response issues, we get cancers, heart attack, and all this other stuff. Now, mucus is not the number one factor for all those things, but it is a contributing factor, and a very high contributing factor that's not talked about nearly enough. Now, Today's video is going long, so I'm not going to talk about how to get rid of the mucus, because there are certainly ways that you can. But the key is to stop eating mucus-forming foods, number one. Find out what your allergies are, number two. And start eating more of a raw diet. I'll discuss that more in detail in the next video, so part 2, which is how to get rid of mucus. So today I was only talking about how mucus forms, the two different types of mucus. The one that's more detrimental is the one that's the thicker one, because the body recognizes that it's an immune response issue. So after next couple days, I will form up a list for you of things that you can ingest to get rid of the mucus, techniques that you can use, and that type of thing. So if you're suffering from any type of mucus issue, you might want to listen to this one and the next one, or send this and share this with somebody, because it's an important subject. So other than that, guys, I appreciate every one of you. I love the feedback that you give me in private messaging, and we're going to start doing more and more health and help protocols for you. This is Coach Scott, and I wish you the best. Peace out.